Every day, millions of Nigerians use our roads. Some drive cars, some ride motorcycles, others simply walk. But a question often leads to conflict and confusion. Who really owns the road? Is it the driver behind the wheel or the pedestrian trying to cross safely? Today on Road Matters, we examine the rights, responsibilities, and the relationship between pedestrians and motorists.
Hello, welcome to Road Matters. Roads are built for everyone, but many times we see disagreements between drivers and pedestrians. Drivers complain that pedestrians cross roads carelessly, while pedestrians complain that drivers do not respect their right to cross safely. So who owns the road? Let's find out. My name is Sufyan Mohammed.
I think everybody has the right to the road. You say in the context of drivers and pedestrians, right?
Yes.
Drivers, they own the major road and pedestrians own the walkway.
Legally, yes. But in Nigeria, no, we do not have the right to road.
Why?
Because, okay, for example, now, this is supposed to be like a pedestrian crossing. But you dare not just come and just end the crossing on the road. Because if a vehicle comes, vehicle will start shouting at you that why you on the road, or this kind of thing.
No, pedestrians don't obey the traffic rules because sometimes you see where pedestrian bridge is constructed, they will not use that bridge. Instead, they will try to be crossing the road like that. And it's just like it's a general indiscipline among Nigerians. We don't obey the traffic rule because you see, for instance, when the red light shows, you see motorists passing. It is the same attitude that pedestrians also possess. So we don't obey.
The road generally belongs to the human being because even both the people that are driving is a woman being also driving there.
Yeah, of course. But it depends actually. Sometimes the way you dress determines how people judge you. So it attracts respect sometimes. Yeah, sometimes you might get, of course, few of them that doesn't value humans at all.
I can say yes and I can say no. You know, there is an individual differences. So some of them respect motorists while some are intermediate, while some are okay.
Interesting views there. Many people see roads differently depending on whether they are driving or walking. But what does the laws really says? Let's hear from our guest.
Road is legally owned by government because road is a surface established over the land for the passage of vehicle, pedestrian, and even animals. So mostly globally, and Nigeria inclusive, roads are owned by government. But that is not taking away that there are some private roads. You discover there are some people that will have a big yard and they will construct their own route inside the yard. And that road we call it private roads. But generally roads are owned by government and are for the usage of both vehicular movement, pedestrian movement, and even animals. Roads are meant for vehicle, roads are meant for cyclists, roads are made for bicyclists, and roads are also meant for pedestrian. As well, even the animals use the roads. And they are legally empowered to use the roads. What mostly causes accident on the road is either lack of the knowledge of the regulations on the use of the roads, or you know the regulations, but you choose not to obey it. The driver uses the road and the pedestrian use the road, and all of them are using it legally because they are empowered by law to use the road. They shared the road. and they share the road in a way that no one is allowed to infringe in another person's rights. The vehicle use the road, the pedestrian use the road, but there are rules for all of them. For pedestrians, where they are crossing the road, they are advised by law to use the zebra crossing. That means a particular point demarcated on the road for pedestrian to cross. And once a pedestrian steps on that pedestrian crossing or a pedestrian line, he has the right of the way. So drivers are, by law, must stop for the pedestrian to cross the road. If a pedestrian is using the walkway, also the driver are not allowed to use the walkway, because in particular road, you see some of the road, you see there are particular places that are demarcated as walkway beside the road. So the pedestrian are also have right to use that pedestrian walk pass because it's meant for the pedestrian to use. And no drivers is allowed by law to drive his vehicle on that walkway. One thing you must understand is there are pedestrian crossing where the pedestrian are allowed by law to use and cross the roads. And there are some places where you discover there's even no pedestrian crossing at all. And we also have a pedestrian bridge that the pedestrian will climb the bridge and cross the road without interfering with the free flow of the vehicle on the road. So in some cases, you discover we don't have. Where we don't have, the pedestrian still has his all right to cross the road. What happened then when there is no pedestrian crossing? I think that is what you are trying to find out. Where there is no pedestrian crossing, that he will cross over, or where there is no zebra, once a pedestrian steps on the zebra crossing, he has the right of way. So all vehicle coming must to stop for him by law. Immediately you step your leg on the pedestrian, on the zebra crossing, all vehicle plying that road stop for you. Because at that very time, you have the right or lane to cross. But what happens when there are no pedestrian bridge or when there is no zebra crossing? The pedestrian also have right to cross the road, but at the particular and right place. At right places. They don't cross the roads where on the junctions. They don't cross the road on the hills, on the crest of hill, where maybe the driver climbing might not see him. So he will look at a place where at least a driver will see the pedestrian both side, at least 100 or 200 meters away. That will allow the driver to be conscious that a pedestrian is crossing the road. And even when the pedestrian is crossing the road at that point, there is also what is expected of him. First of all, he stop. He look, he listen, he think. This is a drill. There are 4. Stop before crossing. Look, listen, think. Then when it is safe, cross. What I mean by stop, you don't just come out from your house or you just come out from a market or from wherever you're coming, you just cross the road, you are a pedestrian. No, you have to stop first of all. You look right, you look left, and ensure that there are no vehicles that are close to you.
Roads are shared public spaces. Whether you're driving, riding, or walking, everyone has a role to play. A pedestrian has the right to move safely. A driver has the responsibility to drive with care. Road safety works best when everyone respects the rules. Pedestrians are expected to use the zebra crossing where available. Use pedestrian bridges and walkways. Avoid crossing highways carelessly.
Then when you look, you also think, yes, at the distance I'm seeing that vehicle. That is listing. No, the second one, after looking, is listing. Because some vehicle or some means of transport, you may not see, but you will listen the noise of the vehicle coming. So if you say think, it's like it's only somebody who has eyes that will see. And it depends on the strength of your look, of your eyes. So that's why you have to look, you have to listen at the same time. Is there any noise that is coming that indicate that a vehicle is coming? Is there any noise that indicates either animal or something is using the road at the same time with you? So when you are sure all these things are free, then you now think. From the distance I see this vehicle coming, will I have enough time to cross the road before the vehicle arrived? So this is the routine. So once you make sure you follow all these routines, you cross the road. And one thing about the driver is also expected to give you your all right. Because when you are crossing, he is expected to reduce his own speed. Despite the fact that you are not coming onto the road when the driver is about to reach the point at where you are crossing. And second, you are also crossing the road only at the point where the driver that is using the same road has enough time to see you from distance. So you don't just cross where the road is junction. Maybe it's a junction. You are seeing the vehicle coming from the left side of hand, but you are not seeing another driver that is coming from the right hand. When you see the left is free, you now decide to cross, not knowing maybe somebody from another lane is coming from the right hand. That's why the point at which a pedestrian crosses the road always matters. Yeah, the common mistake pedestrians normally do is taking the ownership of the road. The road is owned by government and is for shared use by all road users. And where your right ends, that is where another right person begins. But some pedestrians believe that they are human beings. When they are on the road, the driver must respect them and they decide to cross the road at any point and at any time. There are some places you don't expect to cross the road. You can't cross the road at the hill, like I say, at the crest of hill. You must ensure you can't cross the road at the bend, where the road bends. Like there is a dangerous bend when you are crossing and the driver is not seeing you. You can't cross the road when a driver is already approaching. You can't cross the road. That is why we have the drill. The drill, look left, look right, look left again, and cross once the road is free. And do not run. Because you can still run and also fall down and the driver will reach you. So one thing is, all of us are to blame. The pedestrians are also to blame in some ways by crossing where they don't supposed to cross, by crossing at the point that they don't supposed to cross, or even if they are crossing at the right point, but they are crossing at wrong timing. You see a vehicle coming with speed and a pedestrian decides, because I'm eager to go somewhere, let me run and quickly pass. And by mere looking at the vehicle, you cannot easily judge the speed at which the vehicle is coming. And you don't have control of your speed. You can start running, something will happen, somebody can trip and fall, and the vehicle will reach before the person crosses. And also, the driver has what we call stopping distance. There are particular distance at which you don't expect a driver to stop. Because even when you are applying the brake, we now what we call stopping distance. The stopping distance is from the time you apply, you see you need the need for you to apply the brake. You apply the brake, and to the point that the vehicle will now come to a complete stop. Because it's not immediately you match your brake that the vehicle will stop. So sometimes you discover when you see a crash like that, all you need to do, when you go, you will discover there is a skid mark. There is a mark on the road that indicates the driver had made an attempt to stop. But maybe because the pedestrian is crossing at very close range with the driver, even when the driver attempted to stop, still the vehicle skid off the road and hit the pedestrian. So these are part of the reasons we are having that issues. And also the driver in his part too. Some drivers are also not patient. Some drivers also think they also own the road. And the road, because it's tar or whatever road is it, some drivers believe the road are meant for only the vehicular movement. That is why at the beginning I told you, not only pedestrians and not only vehicle, even the animals have right on the road. Because the animal cannot fly. Some of the animal fly, but the one that use the road with us, we must give them their all right on the road, because we either move them or they move from point A to point B. And once they are moving from point A to point B, they are using roads. And they are also entitled to their own life. You cannot use a vehicle and hit them because they are on the road. A failure to stop for a pedestrian is an offense. The zebra crossing that is on the road is legal. And by law, once the pedestrian step on it, he has rights on that road. We are talking of three things. One, the pedestrian bridge. Second, where there is zebra, where you're supposed to use a zebra and cross. And third, where there are no these two. you cross. Where there is zebra, you automatically step on the zebra. Once you step on the zebra, you have the right of way. It's like when you go to a traffic light, where you see a traffic light will stop one side and allow the other person to pass. That is what the zebra crossing is all about. When you step on it, you have right of way. And apart from that, you also have some traffic police on the road. You have some traffic officers on the road. It's also a duty of the traffic officers on the road to stop vehicle for pedestrian to cross the road. So there are so many ways where a pedestrian can cross the road. But one thing is a driver must give way for pedestrian to cross the road when he needs to cross at the time he wants to cross. But the pedestrian at the same time must ensure he is only crossing the road when it is safe to do that. Only when it is safe. They can coexist and share the road simply, first of all, if they understand what is the road and why the road is even made. When they understand using the road is shared responsibility. We all collocate. Husband and wife lives. In the office, people stay together. In the motor park, people live together. Even in commercial vehicle, different people live together because they are using the vehicle because it's only their means of transportation. So that road is shared responsibility, is for shared use for the pedestrian, for the driver, and for even the animals. You walk on the road from the left side of the road because you don't walk backing the oncoming traffic. You walk on the road facing the traffic ahead of you. So you always walk opposite of the vehicle that the vehicle are moving. When the vehicle are moving going right way, you are following left way because you are seeing the vehicle despite the fact that you are on walkway where there is no walkway, you are off the road by the side of the road, but still you are pacing the vehicle coming so that you are seeing the driver that lost a brake. You are seeing the vehicle that maybe lose control and coming towards you. Not that the vehicle will come and hit you from behind. That is one. And second, one pedestrian understand all this and understand all the drills expected. And there is also another factor of a pedestrian on the road in the night. Because you can be on the night, trekking on the night, and using a black color clothes. You are expected when you are to be on the road in the night to use a light color clothes. Because a light color cloth is conscious, the driver will quickly be conscious and recognize somebody is ahead. But when it is black color, the environment in the night is also black and you are also using black color. He may not easily understand that it's pedestrian on the road. So pedestrians need to understand all this. They must understand they're all right on the road and also understand the driver also has his all right. But understand pedestrian has right to cross the road. Pedestrians have right to use the walkway, so the driver should not use the walkway. On no account should driver, whether there is traffic hold up, whether the road is blocked, whatever happens, the driver is not expected to decide to be on the walkway because there is hold up, let me use the walkway. The walkway are donated to the pedestrian to use. Likewise, the drivers are also not allowed to park at the foot of the pedestrian bridge. Because if you cover where you climb the bridge, if a driver decides to turn it, because like in some cases, we find out the most officially the taxi or the commercial vehicle will turn the place to a park where they park to pick up passengers. So they make it difficult for pedestrians to access the bridge and cross the road. So all this must be understood by both parties.
Road safety is not only about obeying the laws. It is about respect. It is about life. It is about road users. And it is about shared spaces. So who owns the roads? Before I answer your question, let's take a short report put together by one of our correspondents from NTA Programme.
Though some attribute overloading, particularly of human beings, is as a result of poverty in the society. Whatever claims given to overloading, it remains a major traffic offense that endangers life and compromise vehicle stability and control, which can cause serious accidents.
Overloading is the act of carrying passengers or goods beyond a vehicle's design capacity or the legal limit permitted in the transport system. In In Kebbi State, overloading has become a persistent problem, particularly among heavy-duty trucks. These trucks often transport overloaded goods to neighboring countries, Niger and Benin Republic, causing rapid deterioration and eventual collapse of roads. In so many occasions, Transport Union has been calling motorists to abstain from overloading. If sudden issue occurs, that suddenly necessitates using brake. In most cases, human beings and goods usually fall down. For instance, drivers have a habit of putting people on top of goods, which is not proper. Despite measures taken by the enforcement agencies, overloading is consistently persisting.
To my perception and understanding, it's not proper and it's not in line. And everybody knows that it's against the common rules of road driving. So I will advise my colleagues, drivers, to stop doing what is illegal.
Vehicles owners disobey traffic rules. You see cars overloaded with particular car. Similarly, you will see a car that carries 6 people maximum, but drivers can put more than 10 people on top of with heavy goods. Overloading remains one of the most dangerous practices on our roads. It significantly increased the risk of road traffic crashes by 8.3% according to the Federal Road Safety Corps Annual Report 2023.
Overloading has a lot of implications on the road and the safety of passengers and motorists. In Kebbi State, we are bordering about 2 or 3 other countries, Benin Republic, Niger, and probably Cotonou to the other side. And Kebbi State is a business hub that takes goods and services to these countries, because most of the goods and services that we import or export to them, they don't have them. And when we do that, because we want to maximize profits, people overload their vehicles.
The Federal Road Safety Corps has intensified enforcement and monitoring across all formations in the country. Drivers and transport operators are advised to adhere strictly to prescribed loading limits and safety regulation at all times.
Just talking to the motorists, advising them, telling them what to do and what not to do, telling them the dangers of overloading. We are going to continue to talk to the people. We don't have support from the public. That is just the plain truth, unfortunately. So even though we are working for them, we are working for their safety, we are trying to see that we have a hitch-free journey to and fro, but we still have a lot to do and we are working towards it, God helping us.
Drivers and vehicles owners are advised to adhere strictly on loading limits, as overloading increases brake failure and fatal accidents.
Thank you, my namesake, on that short report. So who owns the road? The answer is simple. No person owns the road. The roads belongs to all of us. The drivers, the cyclists, the motorcyclists, the pedestrians, and persons with disabilities. All have rights and responsibilities. I remain Sufyan Muhammad. See you on our next episode.